I don't have an opinion on who he is or who he's not. I have a large Ukrainian population here in the city. I have a large Russian-speaking population here in the city, and I try my best. I'm not always successful at doing it, but I try my best to not to allow the international politics to impact on those who are here in the city. And I must stand up and represent those who are Ukrainian descent and those who are Russian-speaking descent to make sure that they feel that the city is going to be there for them. When the Ukrainian refugees came here, we allocated a substantial amount of money for them in their transition. I'm going to continue to do that. And so I'm going to show the local diaspora here in the city that they are welcome here, like all the flag races that I do, and I'm going to continue to do that.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams there answering several questions from reporters during this press conference. He touched a little bit at the beginning on public safety, but also discussing immigration, given the fact that one of the largest migrant shelters located in Manhattan will be closing soon. And then that last question that you just heard had to do with New York, its help toward any Ukrainian refugees, given the fact that today it is the 3rd anniversary of that war between Russia and Ukraine first starting. On your screen, you also have this other live image that we're just getting into our newsroom. Take a look at this inside of the White House, as we are expecting a joint news conference between President Trump and French President Emmanuel Macron. We'll bring it to you as soon as that gets underway. But in the meantime, we do have to step away for a brief commercial break. Much more live coverage when we come back. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox, where we are monitoring this live picture that we just got from inside the White House, as we are expecting President Donald Trump to hold a joint news conference with French President Emmanuel Macron on today, the anniversary of Russia's invasion into Ukraine. While we wait for that to get started, let's head back to the event that we were showcasing just before the commercial break. New York City Mayor Eric Adams here answering questions from reporters on multiple topics, including immigration and the corruption case against him.
I wasn't in support of appealing the decision over non-citizen voting. I was not in support of that. They were in support of that. They got an outside counsel to represent them. and that council can't speak with me. So they can go to the corporation council. The corporation council doesn't work for the mayor. The corporation council works for the city of New York. So they could have brought a legal challenge. Don't let them lie to you.
Back.
Did you just...
Mr. Mayor, my second question.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What was the question?
You said you filled those roles. Is that true?
We said this 1,000 times. When it's time to make announcements, we will make those announcements. And so when it's time for us to make the announcement, we will make those announcements. We don't have any vacant positions right now in our administration. The amazing DMs are saying we're here to have a smooth transition. So we're going to continue to do that. So when it's time to make the announcement, we're going to stand up here. They're going to be to the right of me. They're going to be to the left of me, and I'm going to say, here are my new DMs. And just want to circle back to the statement that you made. Those citywide electeds, the public advocate, the speaker, the controller, they have attorney-client privilege, like I have attorney-client privilege.
Hey, Mayor.
Yes.
So the governor had said early last week she was worried about the future of this administration. She was having meetings with several people to decide what to do and then propose these guardrails. Were you, during that period, concerned that she might remove you? And then with the guardrails, have you looked at the details of what she's proposing, and do you worry that it might limit your power?
No. I'll peel them apart. Well, two notes. No, I wasn't concerned about being removed because I knew I did nothing wrong. And all of you have to ask yourselves that there was this call from a lot of people who are running for office and some others on the fringes and many who have criticized our policies for years, remove them. Why? I mean, did anyone ask the question, why? I mean, like, what was he convicted? Was he convicted of something? Did he do something new? Like, what was the reason? If you were to ask people why, well, because we believe he may be under this or under that. That is not how you circumvent the power of the people who elected me based on your perception and belief. No one could say, when I spoke to some of my colleagues, I was like, why are you calling for this? Like, what is the reason? Well, because they're putting it forward the possibility of dismissing your charges. That's a reason to take away the mayor of the largest city in America? If that's the standard, we are all in trouble. If you can bypass the will of the people based on what people don't like of an action, that's not democracy. And it's amazing those who call themselves so democratic is leading the charge that a mayor that wasn't convicted of anything, a mayor that was doing the job, moving the city forward. It's not like we failed in moving the city forward. They are saying we need to remove him. But why? And then those who are calling are going to take my spot. Come on. This becomes almost comical when you think about it.
Just pointing out, Andrea Stewart Justice is running against.
Hi, Mr. Mayor.
See you later, Marsha. Somebody was saying, how are you? Yes.
So can I just clarify? I want to make sure I heard your answer to this question. But
Yes.
Did you say you are having discussions about the possibility of recusing yourself from immigration matters? And if that's the case, do you feel that the Justice Department would still have reason to hold off on the charges? Because they've said that the charges in part
the team are looking at everything we can to continue to govern the city. And whatever conversation I have with our council, I don't go into private conversations to do so. I answered that already.
All right, and then I guess the other question would just be, you sort of touched on this before
Yeah.
I was going to ask it. But I think some people are wondering why you were so much more vocal criticizing President Biden than you are now, even when President Trump seems to do things that, knowing you as long as you do, even though some of the things you're saying are totally consistent and you've said them before, there are some times where you expected to pull punches against Trump?
You know, one day I want to meet some people. You know, because that's like this fictitious group of people that I never bumped into on the street. You know, some people. 10 months, 10 trips to Washington I did to sit down with the previous administration. 10 trips. And constantly told them how important it is. On one of those trips, I was told that this is like a gallstone. It's going to hurt, but it'll pass. I said, well, maybe you want to pass it. You know, so 10 trips, 10 trips. And so after 10 trips, after watching thousands of people come in here, I was consistent. And so it didn't make a difference to me if the president was Democrat or Republican. I was fighting for New Yorkers. And I said to you previously, we put up a chart. Many of you don't realize the long-term impact of losing $7 billion. The long-term impact is going to impact this city for generations to come. For generations to come. And what many of you, I will hope, is to say you're voicing your advocacy now. Where were you when we were getting 4,000 migrants and asylum seekers to this city a week? Where were they? I couldn't get them to join me at a press conference. I couldn't get them to take a trip to Washington, D.C. with me. Where were they? And now they've found their voices. That's just, we gotta ask you, just as you ask me these tough questions, we have to ask them the same tough questions. Where were you under the previous administration when we lost $7 billion and the citywide electors asking for money? We were asking for work authorization. We asked them to join us. They were not there. The speaker and public advocate even agreed to stand with us, but the controller decided he wasn't going to do that. Like, we can't have amnesia. While we were going through a crisis under the previous administration, these leaders were not here, and we called them on them over and over again. You need to be standing with us to fight what the previous administration did.
Yeah, I know.
Mr. Mayor.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good.
A couple of questions. First, just to clarify what you've been saying about this $80 million seizure, do you view that as illegal, or are you saying it's in some way comparable to something the previous administration did? And my second question, in terms of some of the sort of rhetoric we've been hearing from your legal team these last few weeks, I know you've been very clear since your indictment that staying focused, that the city's business is continuing as usual. But your lawyers have really been saying, as opposed to the opposite, that they say, these charges need to be dropped because they are so badly interfering with the mayor's work.
What about
the letter was unsealed a few days ago that Alex had sent to the Justice